I am with the Copper River Copper Basin Child Advocacy Center, and we're going to chat about how technology is awesome and how we can use it in a positive way. A couple of videos that you guys are going to be able to see, but they will not hook up here, so we're just going to have to learn. We're going to have to listen to them. So we're going to start. Oh, come on. We might just have to watch them afterwards. They're extremely cool, but if we can't watch them, we can't. Anyway.
Find YouTube on here.
Yeah, we'll just watch it later. Yeah, we'll go. So the first one we will skip over. So this is the parent one that talks about how sometimes, how many of you got teenagers over here, how many of you guys see parents that are like, kids, get off your computers, get off your phone, and then they're over there. Have you seen that? Yeah, that's what we're gonna watch when this is over, and we can put the links in here so people can check them out. But we have one of our videos is Will Ferrell. Have you guys seen that? Device-free dinner. It's hilarious. We'll watch it after this. Anyway, so yeah, this picture of a parent hanging out with her kid, but she's not really hanging out because she's got a little device. So one of the things about this is there was a daycare in Texas that was constantly seeing, these kids are in daycare for 8-10 hours a day, these little bitty kids, and the parents come and the kids are like, oh, look at my little pumpkin, look at my little, and the parents are like on their phone, oh, nice, that's real cute, and they're sitting there glued to their phone. It was really sad. So the workers put the sign up that said, please, when your kids have been gone all day, can you show them some attention, pay attention to what they show you when you pick them up? That would be awesome. So they suggested, hey, maybe take 30 minutes to take your me time and catch up on your phone, because it's not a bad thing, catching up on your phone. But being in the here and now is also a good thing. And this just basically says, if your parents are telling you, don't get a phone, and then they're constantly not paying attention, are you gonna be like, oh yeah, definitely, I'm not gonna be on my phone. I'm gonna pay attention to you while you're paying attention to your phone. Are you gonna listen? Probably not. So basically that's just saying, okay, come on parents, if you're gonna tell the kids to toe the line, you got to do it too, because kids are watching. And the next few slides are not really, they're mostly my issue, so they're not like, there's a few of them and they just talk about, do you get your kid a phone or not? And a lot of the people that we'll talk about later, the experts in the field, are kind of like, okay, do you really need one? What are the other options? I know a lot of people have non-data phones. You said you didn't have a phone, right? And do you have one? Okay. So you still have a BlackBerry? Oh yeah, those are old. Yeah. So Copper Valley, does your child have a phone? Heck no. Yeah. My boy has a phone because he has I wish it was a non-data option, but unfortunately in Copper Valley, all phones have data now, so that's a bummer. But there's a flip phone that's real limited in data. It's a real pain in the butt to text. You got to punch 3 numbers. It's kind of like Morse code. He is, however, out trapping for hours on end without communication by himself, and that's kind of a need for a phone. And then that's pretty much when he needs to use it. So he does have one for that, but you say, oh, but what if everyone else has one? Well, great. Well, somebody can borrow somebody's. Everyone else will be happy to lend you theirs. Yeah, so really it's not that necessary, but if it is, there's options that are not super smartphone-y. Technology, the definition is actually to make our lives easier. And sometimes it's not making our lives easier. Sometimes it makes our lives a lot harder. And that's just something to think about. Who owns it? There's a saying in the business world, if you're not the customer, if you're not paying for it, you're not the customer. So who pays for phones and houses usually? Moms and dads. But yeah, somehow kids get phones. And this is my favorite little, I got this from a conference in Alabama when I was there. These pigs are in the barn going, yeah, free food, free lodging, isn't this great? And why is it funny? They are the food. They're like, yeah, we even get food free. Of course, they're feeding them so that they can become the food. And that's kind of the metaphor there. But basically, if you're not paying for it, you're not the customer. When you're on Facebook, are you paying to be on Facebook? Nobody's paying to be. Instagram, you don't have to pay for it. They're the ones who are paying for it. So they're the customers. They're mining your data so they can get information, so they can sell it to advertisers and sell things. So that's kind of a good thing to any Lord of the Rings people, Lord of the Rings fans. Okay. I had to put this in here because I've seen so many, not mine, of course. Never mind. It's mine. Give it back. Oh yeah, there's a video called Social Dilemma that's it's you should watch it. It's a documentary kind of, and it's a little over the top hyperbolized, but not really. But basically, they decide the lady's like, okay, we're gonna have dinners with no phones. We're just gonna sit here and talk, and she puts the phone in this lock case, and the girl just goes and bangs it because she's got to have her phone. You know, it's like no, I can't do without it. It gets kind of crazy. So yeah, you don't want to reach the point where you're, but I have seen that both with adults and kids. A lot of times it's the kids that we're picking on, like, kids on their phones, but it's the adults who have.
Mostly me
with your BlackBerry.
Yeah.
Oh, do you still have it?
No.
Oh, you did. What
Yeah.
what kind of things did you notice about when you had it?
I was listening to music more.
Yeah.
Blocking out people.
Yeah.
like family.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get in your own little world, and it's just you, and you don't see what's around you, and you lose
Yeah.
empathy, and you lose a lot of communication that could happen for sure.
Now I just stay in my bedroom.
Yeah, and music's a good thing. It's not, it's not a bad thing, but if you're just using it to block things out, it can be not such a positive thing. Some trends that they're in Silicon Valley, which is like the head of technology, like that's kind of where a lot of the technology started in Silicon Valley in California. And a lot of the parents, and we'll talk more about what experts of, the CEOs of like Microsoft and Google do with their families. And it's very much different from what most parents do. So, but a lot of them are getting gizmo gadgets for their kids instead of phones, which basically is a non-data. It's basically to have communication with a handful of people. So it's a safety thing. So yeah, you have a phone, you can call your mom if you need to, and it can track where you are. So, something bad happens, parents know where they are. But that's what a lot of parents are doing in the tech industry because they know things. It's interesting. The more conferences I go to, the people that are like tech giants are like super, super strict. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit detail later. But yeah, their kids don't have a lot of technology or any. So there's a big movement to kind of scale back on that. Oh, and here we go. So Bill Gates, his kids didn't have smartphones until they were 14. He was big on tech-free dinners, which is one of the videos we'll watch with Will Ferrell, which is pretty dang funny, I think. I hope it's okay for you guys. If it's not, I guess your parents. Have you seen that? Yeah, anything with Will Ferrell's got to be funny. Anyway, Evan Spiegel, his kids get 90 minutes of screen time per week, and he urges parents to cut down on use. He's the Snapchat CEO. So again, he knows things. So he's kind of like, yeah, I see what this is designed to do, and no for my kids. However, I did look, because 90 minutes a week, I'm like, oh, come on, who can enforce that, Mr. Parent? So his kids, I will note that his oldest is 5 at this time. A presentation, they might have been 3. So his kids are very young, but still he is made a choice because basically, I mean, these corporations, they hire, psychologists and psychoanalysts, the same people that are, that do the slot machines in Vegas, and they try to hook you in, and they do a really good job. So these people know that. So we got Tim Cook, who's the Apple CEO. He even says, yeah, technology is great in the education field. I think it's great. I mean, my kids are on, they do a lot of their work on online programs, and that's fine. But do we need it for literature? This Apple CEO is like, probably not. You probably just read a book. Probably just analyze literature in other ways than thinking you have to have the computer for all aspects of education. The Microsoft CEO is really interesting to me because he has a son who's 21 who is profoundly affected with autism, and he is quadriplegic. So there's a lot he can't do. And what kind of challenged this young man to get into technology was to make life easier for his son so that his son could communicate. Without technology, his son would not be able to express what he wants. He would not be able to communicate verbally and do things physically. So it has done what technology is supposed to do and has made his life easier. And therefore it's made his family life a lot easier too, because this family's like, hey, my son can tell me he loves me. It's really a great story. You should check that out. And he also says, he talks about how in India, things are so competitive. He's an Indian from India, talks about how competitive and, and how brilliant a lot of people are in his country. And he's like, I am not one of those people. I'm average, but he was super motivated to find something to help out his son and to, anyways, it's really neat story. But so technology for entertainment is always going to be negotiation in our house, says him, because, he's like, hey, use it to to make life easier, like for my son and a lot of other ways educationally, but it doesn't need to be used in ways that are time suck. And last, we have the Google CEO, who basically is like, my kids aren't watching TV. Just, really super strict. You can see stricter than your parents probably, right? Are they stricter than your parents? Yeah, because they know things. They know things we probably don't want to know. But anyway, so I find that really interesting. And I find that to be true every time I go to a conference, is the more people know, the less they let their kids, they monitor it, because it's not a bad thing. And we'll talk more about how you can use it in a way that is awesome, because it's here and it's part of our life. We can't make it go away. Making it work, doing stuff with your kid. You guys do stuff online with your parents? Yeah. Do you guys do like games, or you guys are outdoors so much that
I spend all day business-wise
Yeah.
dealing with online stuff and advertising,
and you feel like it's work.
and I'm
so
away,
you're like,
when
not-
I put work away, we put work away.
that's good.
We have, however, spent an awful lot of time on YouTube lately learning how to fix things that are broken.
Yes, that is, we talk a little bit about that because that's how we should. I mean, YouTube is an amazing resource for, like you were saying, going to the, piano or any other instrument. What do you do on YouTube? Do you find out how to do stuff? And
I just listen.
music?
But yeah,
Yeah.
just once in a while, scary stuff with my mom.
Yeah.
Scary stories.
Oh yeah, it's fun. My daughter and I are watching, which I just don't like to watch movies that much, but lately I would really, really love to read. But when I find a good movie, I get pretty happy about it. But we're watching Psych, which is, I'm not a crime show person, but it's kind of sounds counterintuitive, but it's a crime show, but it's a comedy. So it's kind of funny and light and very non-scary compared to those crime shows that I would not watch. But anyway, yeah, it's like a way to spend time together, a way to like, hey, we can watch our show tonight after we do all of our stuff. You know what I mean? So it can be a positive thing. It's not like, oh, computers are bad and YouTube's bad. And, it's a great way to fix things, to learn things is, I mean, now that you can't go face to face and have music lessons all the time, you can go on YouTube and go, hey, how do I play this arpeggio? Or what does a G chord look like on guitar? And, so it can be an amazing resource
I
to.
will admit the people that are teaching us how to fix things generally have much more foul language
This
than
is
someone
true.
teaching music would. So
This
that's,
is true.
that's been our hurdle.
That's a bummer. That is a bummer.
It is a very big bummer.
Yeah, you should comment on that and be
But-
like, hey, I got my 12-year-old here. Can we just let them know that some people care about that? Because it seems,
It's a tough thing, but
Yeah.
it's part of the entertainment factor as
I
well
know.
for some personalities.
I
online.
know.
But you all hear
Yes.
it anyways, right?
yes.
It's not like we can keep
Right.
it from kids, so you have
Yes.
to learn how to.
I
Listen
think I'm the only one here. Just both from my parents. A lot.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
everywhere,
Yes.
all around you, so you have
Yeah.
to learn how to deal with it. And
Yeah.
so it's not all
But
bad.
yes,
just to hear it.
exactly.
It's-
Yeah. You
it's
can
everywhere.
choose your behavior regardless of what the
What you
rest of
hear.
society's behaviors. I hear your kids saying, but so-and-so, but it's all over
Right.
YouTube, but this every show, blah, blah, blah. Well, okay, great. But that doesn't mean that it has to be part of your life. You
Right.
can make your own decisions, but that's
No.
a good point. Balance, healthy, again, like if you're, this talks about how sometimes like your dad or your mom are making money to give you a house and food, right? So sometimes you may be sitting down to dinner and your dad, my brother-in-law is a heart surgeon. Maybe he gets a call and be like, oh, I have, can you bring the lung to somebody at the lung tray? I mean, seriously, he's had that happen before where, yeah, it's really important to drop your phone or to pick up your phone and go save that life or go, if you got a but you can communicate to your family and say, hey, got to take this call. Boss is on the line. We've got this, conversation we have to have. I'll come back in 5 minutes, put the phone away, so communicating why you're on, because sometimes it's great to have it. And it's as long as you use it and it's not using you, it can be a great,
I think YouTube
Cool.
Kids is like the better version of YouTube without the cousin.
oh, really? That's a good point. YouTube Kids.
Yeah.
I've not even seen a better without them. That
Yeah.
is really good.
I had it since 4th grade. Now my mom had passed it to my little brother. Yeah.
Huh. Oh, that's a good point. I never even knew YouTube Kids existed.
I
Thank
didn't
you
either.
for
I
sharing
don't
that.
understand.
Yeah. But yeah, creativity online, you writing, coding, 3D modeling, learning a new skill, an instrument, how to fix things. I mean, I went online trying to embed things for this presentation. I didn't have the right software, you know, but the point is, if you want to learn something, you can learn it online. I mean, you still have to, you can have bogus information that tells you how to fix your axle and your car is going to fall apart. So you're wrong. I mean, you have to mine the information, figure out which sites are reliable and which aren't, but technology can work for us if we choose to use it in that way. This was where the family dinners was going to come in, and it will after this presentation. I will try to, for those of you that are linking into this, I'll try to get these links available. You just type in Will Ferrell, Common Sense Media. It's a 31-second video. It's really good. It's really fun, but it just shows how, you know, you can zone into your phone and totally zone out of whatever your family is talking about, which is unfortunate. I'm kind of glad we can't see it because it's kind of fuzzy, but it's stuff you don't want to know about anyway. Basically above the iceberg is the stuff that we see. Oh, computer's on. All right, great. We can go do our class online. We can learn how to play the fancy little chord that we didn't know how to do on viola or whatever. Actually, there's no chords on viola. I don't think there's probably on guitar, but anyway, so the top, great. But then the bottom, it's like, oh, you must be really bored. And whoa, at the very bottom, you better use a proxy on your URL that can find out what you say, or your IP address, because they'll find you and say hello to the FBI. So a lot of stuff online that is not okay, and it's below, and we don't even see it. We don't even want to see it, but it's there, and to know it exists is, you know, a good thing, and to stay away from it, and to know that a lot of times things happen online that aren't safe or healthy. So the next thing, now that I have this, the next couple of slides are the worst things that can happen, and they're designed for parents, and they're not going to scar you guys for life. They're totally innocuous, but it's just like statistics on cruddy stuff that's happening. So your dad's seen this presentation and I sent it to him, so I'm sure he's okay with it. Exposure, kids are seeing stuff at an early age. Pornography, it's like, oh, it's not that bad now that, you know, TV, if it's TV-14, you better worry, because in my day, if it was, you know, PG-13 or R was like, oh, you know, but now it's like, oh, it's only R, big deal. You know, it's just becoming normalized, things that are not wholesome and healthy.
Has, like, a lot of those movies.
Yeah.
I don't really watch them, but just like the friendly kind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one thing I was going to mention, but I'll say that as we'll get through this one first. But I'm going to read. I mean, normally, you're not supposed to like read slides to people because you can read them on your own, but you actually can't read this on your own because it's a little fuzzy. So basically, this says 1 in 5 kids has been solicited online. Someone has tried to, you know, ask them to do stuff online. The guy that gave this presentation said it's probably up to 2 or 3 out of 5 online, because just the way things are, especially with COVID, people are online more and people are using stuff that aren't good. A lot of youth will get stuff online and they won't tell their parent. What would happen maybe if you told your parent? Yeah, you'd be afraid they'd say, oh, forget it. You're going off there. You're going to throw that phone and we're going to flush it down the toilet forever. You know, they'd be afraid, not that they think you're bad, but they might be afraid and go, oh, you know, so kids might, you know, they maybe for their safety, they should tell a parent. And most parents, you know, I would think your parents would be like, oh, let's try to find some filters so that we can keep you safe online. Thanks for telling me, you know. But kids are afraid that their parents are going to think it's their fault, which, you know, most times it's not. It just happens if you don't have the proper filters, or, but yeah, a lot of kids won't tell their parents what's going on. It says here 14% of, hopefully that's lower here because, you know, where are you going to go? But people have been known to use geo, you know, tracking in your devices to find you. And it says 14% have met the people online who have asked them to do bad stuff. So definitely don't want to be one of those 14%, because that's not a good thing. Most of the people that you're going to meet, and it's not all of them, of course, but they're not all going to be who they say they are. So you can't find what they're looking for. You know, if you have a screen name that suggests that you're like, if you're up late at night and you talk about my parents are blank, I hate my parents, they hate me, life sucks. If you're kind of that person, predators are going to be like, hey, here's a person who's unhappy. I can be that kid's friend. I can be the parent you know what I mean? So it's a good idea to, if you're feeling cruddy before you vent online, to maybe step back, listen to some music, do something else for a while to, or talk to a friend.
I might have a really good suggestion in music.
Oh yeah? What's
Yeah,
that?
it's like, you know what ASMR is? Like the tapping with like a microphone that picks up sounds more easily than the ones you hold close to talking to.
Okay.
There's one about rain, oceans.
Oh, nice. So it's like natural sounds,
Yeah.
and you listen to it and it's relaxing. And
Yeah, and there's some with like everyday objects.
Yeah.
Like this, they could just like rub it or
Right.
scratch it.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. And these are sensory things that can put you in a better mood, that can make you, and music especially. Hey Ellie, how's it going? What you missed, you can tune in on our Zoom link. We've got this on Zoom. So, all right.
Or
So
make you sleep, which
yes. Yeah. One of the things I do, and my job is we do a lot with music, and we talk about how, for example, I do the hokey pokey online. Sometimes I tell my kids, how in the world are you ever going to be in a bad mood when you're doing the hokey pokey? You're not, it's like when you're singing listening to happy music, listening to classical music is going to do what?
chill.
Maybe make you chill, maybe make you go to sleep, like you're saying, before a basketball game. You're probably not going to listen to classical. You're going to listen to but music so much affects your mood. And it would be a great idea, right? Before you go online and vent, if you're angry or whatever, to be like, maybe listen to
Or
some music
me,
first.
this was like now for my sleep music is like hip hop kind of rock kind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's for your generation. I'd have a hard time falling asleep to hip hop.
I got the rock from my dad.
Oh yeah, the rock music.
Yeah,
Okay.
young age.
Is it 80s rock or modern?
80s, and I learned heavy rock by myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think 80s had the best rock personally, but I'm an 80s kid, so there's that. Anyway, yeah, so that's a really good point. I'm glad you brought up music. Just real quick story before we move on. I went to a couple two cellos concerts, and I don't know if you know them, but Google them if you don't. They're very dichotomy of super mellow, chill, classical to hard rock. I mean, they're just taking those cello strings and they go through several strings per concert. Yeah. Okay, so a couple concerts, and what they do, they're brilliant. They don't want people after the hard rock. They don't want a bunch of crazy people that are coming after them afterwards or storming their security guards for autographs. So they play the crazy music, and then always before you go, they play the calm music. Because when you're listening to it's hard to be like autograph. And it's amazing how you see the audience go from. I mean, you get people older than I am that are. I mean, some people they can barely walk, but they jump out of those chairs and they're dancing in the aisles, crazy. And then before they go, they put on that classical, and people are sitting down, and that's brilliant because the security guards don't have to work as hard, and they don't have to worry about people storming them. So all that to say, music is amazing to put you, but there's other things like you're seeing objects that you can, like dogs are amazing to put you in a mood of
Your
calm.
animal's eating something.
What's that?
The ASMR, there's like.
Oh, that's another one of the things you're talking about. Yeah. So you have some really good coping skills to be like, hey, these are some things that make me happy, that are funny or calming, and that is really good. That's amazing to have that, especially before you go online when you're upset. You want to calm down, because if you seem, and things don't go away online. So that's a whole other class. We're going to talk about that. But, maybe you're upset at 3 a.m, but that upsetness is going to be there if someone screenshots it or copies it or whatever. You don't want to relive that by your friends or not so good friends saying, oh, by the way, you said blah, blah. Just think about that before you say stuff. What technology does to the brain. And one of our videos is on what's called neuroplasticity, which basically we can talk about what things do to the brain. But the hope part of that is that you can change the neural pathways of your brain. Like say you have a really bad habit. Anyone want to share a bad habit?
Sleeping in.
Sleeping in.
School days.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Staying up all night and sleeping all day.
And when you do
school.
things over and over, it carves. We'll watch it in a, for those of you who are watching, it's called Neuroplasticity. It's by Sensis, SENSIS. It's 2 minutes and 4 seconds long. It's a gal with a amazingly, kind of annoying actually, Australian accent, but super good. We'll watch it after this. And it talks about how you may have this habit of sleeping in and your brain will just like repeat it. It's so super hard to get out of that. But if you just don't do that, it carves another pathway in your brain, and pretty soon you're not sleeping in, and that's your new habit. It's just a matter of doing it. It's kind of like, overeating or, different drugs that people, you can change those pathways in your brain, which is the encouraging part of this. But as far as technology goes, as you can see, you can look at parts of the brain that are activated with technology. This area that's shown on the screen is linked to addiction and shows that the brain has been altered as a result of internet addiction. Sometimes it just actually alters your brain like a drug would. So anyway, this says that people who constantly use technology have a higher level of activity in the part that regulates emotion. So that's just an interesting study on, scientifically on what it does to your brain. There was I thought it was funny when I wrote the title here. I like likes, money, and chocolate, because this showed that when you get a like, when you post a picture and you get 1 million likes, like, oh, I posted a picture, I must look amazing, because like all of a sudden these people are liking it like crazy. Oh, yay me. The same part, the dopamine hit that you get is the same as when you get chocolate or when you win a bunch of money, So it's a big thing. Like my daughter was looking at my Facebook post the other day and she's like, do people not do likes on Facebook? Nobody likes your post. She was disturbed about the fact that I had no likes. And I'm not disturbed about the fact that I don't have any likes, but that is kind of what people, they want that. And it's actually a chemical in your brain that responds to those. And this is it. We'll see more of that when we watch the video as well. But this was a UCLA study that scanned teens' brains as they were doing social media and comparing it to how you felt when you won $1 million or even $100 or $20. I would be happy with that too. But yeah, it does affect your brain. You can see it when you look in those studies, which is interesting. So we'll move on to neuroplasticity. We'll watch that as soon as we're done with this. Anyway, it's by Census. If anyone wants to look that up, it's a really good one. Solutions, of course, when you have passwords, you want to change them a lot. And the caveat to that is when you change them a lot, what happens?
You forget them.
You forget them. Yeah.
That's what happened to my old playing game.
Oh, yeah.
I changed the name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, it is safer. So if you get, like, I finally got so sick of my habit of not remembering passwords, and I'm recovering from that. It's a neural pathway I'm going to have to change in my life. But I typed out a list and I taped it to my book, and it's got every single password. I'm like, oh, okay. So you can still change your passwords as long as you have one place where you can keep track of them. Limiting time online is good if you want to keep yourself accountable. I mean, Google, your phone will keep you accountable. If there's apps that'll be like, oh, you were on Snapchat for 2 hours and 38 minutes today, but keep track of your time, and it'll make it actually more fun if you have a set amount of time when you can do that. Communicating, this presentation is for parents, but it talks about when you talk to people, of course, that strengthens that relationship. And sometimes it doesn't, but it should. No, but in every presentation on social media that I've been to around the United States, that people, no matter what their ideology is, whether they vote for Trump or Biden or they're liberal or Democrat, it does not matter. The people, every single person says, talk to your kids, find out what they're to get involved with their, make it so that you're not like you want to be your parents' buddy all the time, but you want to know that your parents care about you. They're not just trying to micromanage, and so communicating is huge. What's that?
Keep you on one subject at a time.
Yeah. What do you?
Help you focus so you can get stuff
Yes.
I get distracted easily.
That is
even
true.
though it's my favorite.
You are not the
Yes.
only kid.
Yeah, or adult. Oh my
Worry.
goodness.
Yes.
Yes, yes. I make a list of things. I have like a work list and a home list, and I check it off as I go. And today even I put a time, from this time to this time I will do this, from this, just to kind of break it down and get everything done, because it's really easy to get distracted no matter how old you are. Sometimes it gets worse as you get older. I'm by far the oldest
Yeah, what are
person
we
here.
doing
So
No, yeah, it's a lifelong issue. So
Yes.
you learn how to focus when you're young.
yes, absolutely. But again, if you have that
You're a more
tendency,
successful adult.
you'll be encouraged by the video that says you can, by doing something over and over, it changes how, you can change those habits. So lots of resources. We'll talk about a few of those in a little bit. There we go. Wait a minute. Okay, so this is our last page. Josh Oakes, I have him here twice, actually. It doesn't say it, but he's with Safe Smart Social and How to Shine Online. So, you think of people who are on social media talking to kids and about, stuff that are all going to be like, no, don't go on your social media, put your phone down, bad, bad, bad. Well, his thing is, hey, social media is here. It's not going away. Use it, but use it in a way that's going to reflect you positively years down the road. Everything you put on can be seen later. I would assume you want your future employees to see, a person who's done some stuff. But it doesn't mean that if you were in ninth grade and you said something and it happens to show up, nowadays that happens, and adults make dumb mistakes too. It's not like it's going to define your life. You can be like, hey, when I was in ninth grade, did this. I haven't done anything like that since because I learned better. And 9 times out of 10, the employer is going to go, oh, thanks for being honest. I appreciate that. I happened to have seen it last night when I was reviewing your resume, but the point is, you can use social media to make yourself look like somebody who would want to be a great employee. And, maybe down the road, your future wives, husbands, whatever, I guess we're all girls here, but, your future partners are your parents of them, or could look online, and you want to make yourself look as good as you can. So, that's just something to think about. NCMEC is information for parents, got a lot of really good stuff for kids. National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Common Sense Media, I love. As a parent, as a kid too, you can look at something and go, hey, maybe season 1 of scarypeople.com is great, but in season 9, this happens and it can freak you out and scar you for life. Do you want, what I mean? So you can look and see exactly what's going on in a video that you want to watch, or a series. And that's really valuable for parents and kids both to, see how you want to invest your time. Cyberbullying.org, Protect Young Eyes, CyberWise. We have stuff on our website, also crbcac.org. So that is going to conclude our online portion. So we are going to stop right now. And again, we're going to watch a couple of videos. And the last video, I think we talked about all of them, and I can send links if needed. So we've got neuroplasticity by Census, device-free dinners, Will Ferrell, and how social media makes us unsocial by Allison Graham. If you want those, let me know. Thank you for joining. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop us a line. Have a good one. I believe. So I'm really excited to show you these videos.